my thoughts on tonight's episode of Arrow titled "Who Are You?" And I thought this was, despite a couple of problems I had, I thought this was a really solid mid-season premiere. Picking up pretty much where the mid-season finale left off with Katie Cassidy back as Laurel Lance, or who we think is Laurel Lance. And overall, I thought this episode was really great. The flashbacks aside and Felicity, I'll get to that stuff in a second. But overall, again, I thought this was a great episode. Showcasing more of Stephen Amell's great acting, and he's just, I think some people see some of his acting as wooden occasionally, and I think that's more of the writing of the character more than Stephen Amell's performance, because Stephen Amell, from what I've seen, he's delivered really good performances as Oliver Queen. It's the writing that sometimes can be problematic, especially since Arrow has been on a roller coaster in terms of its quality. So especially with seasons 3 and 4. And season 5, while not being season 1 or 2 level quality, it's definitely improved. Felicity being the main problem I have with this season so far. And still some other characters and certain bits of dialogue. Again, writing issues more than performance issues or story issues. And I gotta say, Katie Cassidy did an amazing job with this episode, coming back as Black Siren. Obviously, if you guys haven't watched this episode, I already spoiled it for you. But obviously, the Laurel we saw at the end of the episode over the mid-season finale wasn't the Laurel we knew. And it sucks because CW spoiled that weeks ago in one of the promos. And in my head, I'm just like, why would you do that? It's like, what's the point of having it as a tease in the mid-season finale when a week and a half later you're just gonna reveal it in a trailer? It was stupid of them to do that. That aside, I thought Katie Cassidy did an amazing job as Black Siren, because at first if they didn't tell you that she was Black Siren, you pretty much believed her. I mean, yeah, you saw that Felicity wasn't necessarily trusting of her at first, but other than that, if they didn't have that reveal, I would have assumed that was Laurel. I mean, a part of me would have almost believed that she was Black Siren if they hadn't had the reveal. But it goes to show how great of an actress Katie Cassidy is when she's written well. Even then, Katie Cassidy to me, performance-wise, has never delivered a poor performance. Kind of like with Stephen Amell. Anytime I didn't like the character, it was because of the writing of the character, not Katie Cassidy's portrayal. Because Katie Cassidy has been one of my favorite parts of the show, and she's a character who the first couple of seasons, she was one of my least favorite characters. She was her and Thea, where I thought were just really, for a while, not useless. I didn't like Thea for a while at all, especially in season 3, and most of season 1, or at least the first half of season 1. But then with Laurel, something happened, and with me, it was kind of as the Black Canary arc was happening when she was first becoming Black Canary. This time a couple of years ago, it's seeing. I thought about it, and I'm just like, Laurel has been through a lot as a character, and she's, besides wanting to become a superhero, she's one of the more realistic characters in the entire show. And I said that in my review or not my review, and in a video that I did a couple of years ago called "In Defense of Laurel Lance," and that's something that I just once I stood back and was like, Laurel is a human character. She has flaws. I came to really love the character, and I thought how she was handled in season 3. The only part of her I didn't like in season 3 was the wig, the Black Canary wig that she had, which was different than Sarah's wig. I thought the Black Canary wig was a terrible, terrible wig. The Black Canary suit is okay, but I love Laurel as Black Canary, so that's what, obviously, if you guys saw my when I was giving up on the show, and if any of you guys saw my video of me giving up on the show, you guys know them killing off Laurel was the reason I quit watching in the first place. And having Katie Cassidy come back, and she signed some sort of deal to appear on all the different DC shows, I thought at first it wasn't going to be Black Siren, it was going to be Katie Cassidy back as the character. And the way they set her up in the beginning of the episode is that Black Siren, I don't know how, or you have Prometheus knows, but all the details of the legends and Sarah and bringing them back, and then the aberrations and all that stuff. So I don't know how Prometheus has all that kind of information. Because unless Prometheus is tracking Oliver's every move and he's aware of the team up with the legends and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Again, I don't know how Prometheus or Black Siren are aware of that, but it goes to show to me how bought in I was to her performance in the beginning of the episode. And even then, as Black Siren, I thought she was really well well, she did a really good job, and that's all I want to say. But I want to keep talking about that. I could talk about Katie Cassie's performance all day, but of course, you guys probably don't want to hear me say that the entire time. But what else did I enjoy? I found that, finding out that Prometheus was the one who broke out of Star Labs was interesting, because it's like, how much does Prometheus know, and is Prometheus someone we've already met? Because obviously I don't buy into the theory that he's just the son of some dude who Oliver killed 5 years ago back in first season. I don't believe that at all. Many fans don't believe that at all. So I don't think that is the case. And I saw a theory that he maybe is like an alternate Earth Tommy Merlin, which to me would be kind of cool, but wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, especially since the actor, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Even I used to always have it memorized. Now I can't remember. But the actor who played Tommy in first season and throughout the show, he's on a show, Chicago Med or something like that. He's contractually obligated to another show and can't film Arrow. That's why he wasn't there for the 100th episode premiere thing, or 100th episode thing for the crossover. So I doubt he's Prometheus. I would like him to be Prometheus, but I don't see it logistically happening. That's the nice thing about Prometheus, is I don't know who he is. So that's where, like, it's almost like kind of like the Dark Archer in season 1. That, like, you really didn't know who Dark Archer was going to be, because they really only had Dark Archer in, like, the mid-season finale of first season, and then the reveal of who he was. So it wasn't a whole, like, half-season build-up. But, I do like having, like, the mystery of, like, oh, who is this character, I just don't want to be let down, because I feel like last season of Flash, I was kind of let down, like, by finding out Zoom was Hunter Zolomon, and the way that reveal was handled, I didn't necessarily like that reveal overall. But I'm curious to see what they do with Prometheus moving forward, and I love the action sequences with Prometheus in this episode, with Oliver fighting him, and I think Prometheus is really starting to become a really great villain. That's why, like, another problem I had with last season was Damien Dark to me was just not utilized well. He wasn't all that compelling, and I feel like I never, like, the whole, like, I didn't even finish the season. I know Oliver kills him, I don't even know the details, I know, like, the whole, like, Haven Rock thing, and just, I don't know, it didn't really seem believable to me. It felt like too over the top for what's supposed to be kind of like a grounded superhero show. I mean, I know they have, like, metahumans and stuff clearly in this episode, since Black Siren is a metahuman. I just felt that Damien Dark overall just wasn't all that great of a villain in Arrow. But I do like him in Legend of Tomorrow as part of the Legion of Doom. But that aside, again, I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with Prometheus moving forward, because I'm liking what they're doing with them, and I'm glad that the mystery of who he is still kind of there. That's why I think the whole him being the son of the other guy who was killed is like a red herring. It's fake. He's going to be someone that Oliver actually knows. At least, I mean, that's just what I think. If it ends up being just the guy's son, I'm not going to care all that much. He still would have been a cool villain as Prometheus. I just don't want to have like a Zoom thing where, like, Prometheus was scarier than the actual guy under the mask, Anyways, another couple of things I liked in this episode were the bits of banter between Renee and Curtis, because those two characters have been really hit or miss for me. Curtis, I feel like sometimes they try to make him so much like the male equivalent of Felicity, where he has to have the one-liners and all. He just tries to always be funny. That to me, like, more times than not, his lines don't work, and he comes off as just a badly written character. And I never understood why. And someone in the comment section of one of my last videos brought this up. I'm sorry if I can't remember your name off the top of my head, but I never understood why they changed his name from Michael Holt from the comments as Mr. Terrific to Curtis Holt. I understand him being gay, and that's a change I'm not arguing against. I just never understood why they changed him to begin with, and overall, I've never been that interested in the Curtis character. And even then, like, his Mr. Terrific suit, while it's mostly comic book accurate, it still looks very cheap, and you barely see the Mr. Terrific stuff. Like, I wish it was more like an open jacket. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, but the moments with him and Renee, and seeing Curtis a little darker and angrier in this episode, I feel like that's more of the Curtis I want to see. He's like a darker, edgier kind of guy who's not making the quippy one-liners, who is more emotionally deep than he's let on, and that there is more wrong with him. He's not a perfect character. That's really, this is the first episode in a long time, or at least ever, that I've actually liked the character, because there was more to him than just being the guy who has the cheap one-liners, and that was it. So in this episode, I finally saw some character growth within him, and I liked his banter with Renee, because Renee is a character also very hit or miss for me. Sometimes he does things that make no sense, like how he acted in the crossover, and then just I don't know. But overall, in this episode, I thought he was very mature. He apologized to to Curtis when he thought he was going over the line. That made me finally be like, okay, I understand. Like that's good character growth right there. That's good for the character. It's good for both of them because they are part of Team Arrow and that they have to be able to work with each other all the time. So seeing Renee step up and be like, hey, I'm sorry if I crossed any lines. I didn't mean to upset you. I took too many jabs. My bad. I did like seeing that side of him. That's why I hope these characters mature more and have more emotional growth, so that way I can be more tied to them as characters. Another little side story from the episode that I enjoyed too was the whole thing with Oliver sending the DA, I think it's Adrian Chase, and having him represent Diggle, and how by the end of the episode Chase kind of made Diggle hit him so that way he can keep Diggle within his jurisdiction, so that way that the general doesn't have Diggle killed, which I found very cool because I'm pretty sure that Chase is Vigilante, so I'm pretty sure that's his name in the comics, so that's why there's not much of a shock to me that Vigilante is going on, and you have Adrian Chase subtly saying I kind of agree with the Vigilante or whatever. I guess we'll find that out eventually. I mean, if you guys probably already know that he's Vigilante, and I'm just rambling. And another thing I did like too was finally meeting Talia al Ghul in the flashbacks. In the flashbacks so far, I mean, they're better and more compelling than they were in any of the last two seasons. But logistically, I still don't think because by the time we meet Oliver on the island, first of all, he has to get back to the island at some point. And secondly, his hair is not nearly long enough it needs to be all nappy and gross like it was in the first episode of the series. That's where shaving his head in last season made absolutely no sense. But the whole Russians thing I think is more compelling. It's more interesting than any of the other stuff they did in the last couple of seasons. Except for the Constantine episode of the flashbacks. I've not cared about the flashbacks in a really long time. So now they're bringing Talia al Ghul into the fold. I'm curious what they're going to do with her as a character. I just hope they don't whitewash her too much or make her uninteresting what they did with like they did with Ra's al Ghul. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. So my biggest problems with this episode, as I kind of briefly mentioned earlier, they need to kill off Felicity. Felicity is literally the worst character on this show. The way she's going behind Oliver's back to go to the team oh, take Black Siren down, don't listen to Oliver. I mean, I get that Oliver is emotionally compromised, and so is Felicity. But to me, that doesn't give her an excuse to just do whatever the hell she wants. And then the stupidest thing in this episode was her knocking out Black Siren. Black Siren, who was one of the lieutenants in Zoom's army, who's this badass with all these cool fighting skills, was knocked out by some chicken in glasses. Felicity is literally the worst thing to ever happen to Arrow. She's the worst part of the show. Absolutely the worst part. I don't even care that her boyfriend was killed. She is so stupid. I'm so tired of her character. And this is coming from a guy I used to love her in the first season, and the second season especially, and even for a little bit in the third season. But then it became so whiny all of them in the stupid Olicity relationship, and she's just. And then the whole, her being in a wheelchair thing, and she's the worst written character. I hate her. I want her off the show. But of course, all the stupid Olicity fans aren't going to let that happen. Excuse me. Because they swore that, they're the reason why the show's running in the first place. And then they're complaining this season when Oliver and Felicity weren't together. So I don't even know what the fuck they want. I hate Felicity. I can't stand her. She makes the stupidest decisions on the show. I don't care about her at all. A lot of the actual diehard fans of the show don't care about her at all. I hate Felicity. I don't want her anywhere near these DC TV shows anymore. Emma Bet Ricards, I'm sorry, you deserve better, or at least deserve better written material, because Felicity is literally the worst character in the DC TV shows. And that, yeah. I mean, I hate to sound so hateful towards her. It's just because I used to like Felicity so much, and she was one of my favorite characters in the show for the first couple of seasons. And they just have written her so terribly over the last few seasons that it's just the whole making her Overwatch, and then her being in the wheelchair and magically through technology is healed and can walk, which makes absolutely no fucking sense. And then just the whole Haven Rock thing, which no one cares about, and she seems to now be over with. I can't stand the way Felicity's been written. She's way too whiny. I'm getting tired of her. There's nothing new to her story that makes me want to care about her at all. Emily Ricards does deserve better. I'd be more interested in the character if they stop doing the same fucking thing with her all the time. I'm so just sick of Felicity. So I'm sorry if I offended anyone. You know, I don't mean to offend anyone, and because if you guys like Felicity, you know, I'm sorry if I offend you or what I said is really mean. I don't mean to sound mean. I'm just very emotional about the things that I care about, and Felicity is just, I'm just so disappointed with what they've done with the character. So if you guys do like Felicity as a character, you guys have every right to. If you guys find enjoyment in how she's handled, you know, that's your thing. You know, like, TV is subjective, opinions are subjective. So what I'm saying, you guys might think I'm wrong. That's your opinion to feel what. Anyone who likes Felicity, you know, that's your deal. Like, I'm not gonna go and like attack you or anything. I can't stand Felicity, and that's just how I feel about it. But it's starting to bring the mood down a bit. But overall, I really like this episode, despite my obvious issues with it. I wonder what they're gonna do with Black Siren moving forward, and then the whole tease of the next Black Canary, and what's the whole point of having Katie Cassidy back if you're gonna have some random actress who some random character take on the mantle of Black Canary when it's literally only ever been Dinah Laurel Lance and her mom, and that's been it. I don't want some random ass nobody taking on the mantle of Black Canary. That's what I hate. That's what I hated them killing off Laurel in the first place. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So if you guys, I think that's gonna be it. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I do review all the other DC TV shows as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to review or watch Legend of Tomorrow last night. I'll try to get to it at some point in the next couple of days. Moving to Tuesday nights really screwed me over, because it's hard enough for me to watch shows live as it is, but to watch shows back to back and review them back to back on the same night when I'm spending time with my family or my girlfriend or whatever, it's just really hard. So I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to consistently review the show. I can watch it. That's not the issue. It's just getting the reviews up, and it's hard enough when hardly anyone watches their Legends of Tomorrow reviews anyway. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hit the like button, comment below what you guys thought of this episode, and if you guys want to argue with me about the whole Felicity thing, or if you guys agree with me, disagree, whatever, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, have a good one.